Well, like our Shin Se-min just reported, high season is upon us, which means hot weather, work holidays, and big business for the local film industry. With many people off work and so few activities available in the humid climate, spectators are rushing to the theaters in record numbers. Here to share with us his view of the current hits and the importance of this season to the film industry is our very own film critic, Pierce Conran. So, hello, Pierce. Last week, the new film of KUNDO, The Age of the Rampant, set an opening day record, and now, just a week later, we have a new record set by this week's period blockbuster, which is at The Roaring Currents. We weren't expecting this, were we?
I certainly wasn't. I mean, already last week, KUNDO set the opening day record at 550,000 admissions, and that was a record that had stood for 3 years since it was set by Transformers 3 in the summer of 2011. And so that happens, and we're looking at that, and it's like, wow, that's a huge number. And then just 7 days later, it happens again, and it didn't just break the record; it totally smashed it. It went 25% over. So it went to 683,000 admissions in 1 day. So yeah, very, very big numbers we're looking at the moment.
Well, of course, summer is high season for cinema in North America. That is the case, and of course here in Korea as well. But you know, in other parts of the world, like Europe, summer isn't really a high season for their local cinema industry. What is it about this season that that is so profitable for the industry here in Korea?
Well, I'd say it's fairly big in Europe as well, but it's true that in Korea, for just for a few weeks, it's really, really important. As we heard earlier, of course, there's those kind of 2 peak weeks where people go on holidays, so it's a really very important. And if you look back over the history of kind of Korean cinema, the big hits we've seen over the last 10 years, a lot of them are released at this exact time. So films like The Host and Haeundae, even last summer's Snowpiercer. So studios tend to reserve their biggest films of the year for this period. Now, KUNDO opened last week, which is just before the holiday started, and still managed huge numbers. But Roaring Currents certainly picked the better weekend. That was really when everyone is finally off. So yeah, huge numbers we're seeing.
So are we seeing Hollywood, these big Hollywood films, having a rough time in Korea competing with its Korean counterparts?
Well, at the moment, this is definitely a period that is dominated by local films. But at the same time, Hollywood has done really, really well this year in Korea. They've had a stronger market share than Korea has. What happens is the U.S. holiday season, or the summer blockbuster season, starts a lot earlier.
Okay.
So it starts kind of the first weekend of May is when it really kicks off. And
right, because that's when people get off school too, early June.
Yeah, early June is when people get off school, but actually, for some reason, the holiday season, or the summer film season, has gone earlier and earlier. It normally starts mid-May because of the Memorial Day weekend, but for whatever reason, they've kind of stretched it out to fit in more tentpoles. And so by around now, it starts to kind of taper off.
Right.
So we don't have such huge films anymore. And because Korea is such a sophisticated industry, and because piracy is something that U.S. studios are worried about, they tend to release their films at the exact same time, if not earlier in Korea than they do in Hollywood. So by now there's no big, huge films, and they certainly don't want to go up against the massive Korean films of the year. We saw last year there was the film Elysium, which was one of the big August releases. Had it been released the same time where it was everywhere else in the world, it would have gone up against Snowpiercer. But they delayed it a few weeks because they figured it looked pretty similar, and they knew they weren't going to stand a chance against that.
Right. We have a pretty loyal fan base here of Korean films. Now, let's talk about KUNDO and the Roaring Currents. Now, these 2 blockbusters, do you see them both continuing its strong posts?
Certainly, KUNDO has done really well. It's banked just about 4 million admissions so far in about 9 days, which is huge. But it's taken a huge hit because of Roaring Currents, and it's dipped quite a lot, which is to be expected, I suppose. And it'll still put in some strong numbers, but I dare say it's certainly well over the halfway point of what it will eventually earn. Roaring Currents, however, the reservations at the moment are bigger than I've ever seen by a margin, and it will likely be the first film to ever cross 1 million admissions in a day, which could happen today, but will definitely happen tomorrow and Sunday. And so we'll see records there, and also records for opening weekend, which is also held by Transformers 3. So that'll be smashed. I think we'll see 3 million over the weekend, which will be crazy. And yeah, it might do well, should continue to do well. But there's also the Pirates coming out next week, which should get some business. I don't think it'll be anywhere near as big, but it's certainly a very big season.
Right?
That's exactly it.
Right.
So 3 period blockbusters in a row. If they all do really well, that'll be a very good thing for the industry, but maybe it won't be a very good thing for people looking for diverse cinema in the future.
Right. And you know, but of course, the Roaring Currents. That really for Koreans it probably means more to Koreans than to foreign viewers. And of course, it talks about Admiral Lee Sun-shin's a very personal human side of him. But as a film critic, which one do you recommend among these films, including Haemu? I know that's by your favorite director, Bong Joon-ho.
He produced it, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So I'm totally biased because that's my favorite.
Of course.
But I haven't seen all of them. I've seen 3 of the 4. I haven't seen Pirates yet. But of the 2 currently on release, my favorite was KUNDO. It's it's very fun, tongue-in-cheek, kind of a stylized action film. It's a great director who made Nameless Gangster before. Ha Jung-woo is obviously a great actor. Kang Dong-won is a good foil for him as the villain. There's a really good supporting cast. So I really enjoyed it. I would say it's almost a little too flippant at times, and it's definitely too long. So it certainly has its problems. Roaring Currents, I will admit, I really didn't like it. But
did you not?
I didn't, not at all. But I do think that local audiences will like it a lot more than I did. I felt it was just a little too, shall we say, patriotic, and so it's a little too kind of gung-ho. And the effects are impressive, and I think it will work for a lot of people, and it certainly is already working in Korea very, very well. But for me, and dare I say, other foreign viewers that will see it eventually, I think that the response will not be as strong as it will be here.
Well, we'll all wait for actually Haemu to come out as well as the Pirates, and we'll be the judge of which one is the winner out of the 4 period
Absolutely,
films.
teach their own.
All right, Pierce, thank you so much for this week as well, and our viewers will see you next week, Friday.
It's a pleasure as always.